Hi, this is Dorothy with Scrapbooking, and I am going to make another card with the July stamp of the month just because, number one, it's an absolutely adorable stamp, and it can just be used over and over and over again for cards for your friends, your mother, for your sister, any kind of female in your life. And I mean, it's just absolutely a wonderful little stamp. So I am going to make a little scene, and what I'm using is a template that I made from our stencil paper. And I just took some of my cloud cuts and just traced them around and made just a giant cloud stencil that I'm just moving around. So when you do this technique, you want to start off at the bottom of the card so that you don't just cover over all the stuff that you just made. And I washed this stencil over. I think it would be better to use if you have some clear acrylic rather than the stencil that's sort of papery. Anyway, I'm using my brush and the blue stamp pad, which is, let's see what it is. Oh, I didn't flip it over. Anyway, it'll be at the bottom in my comments. And I love the way you can stack these clouds on top of each other, and it just looks so cool. And so I'm going to take my, clear off my little brush, and I'm going to take the green apple, and I'm going to make the ground. So I'm going to use a couple of different shades of green, sweet leaf, and green apple, and because grass is just not really one color. So you get all sorts of shades in a little meadow, and that's sort of what I'm doing. And I kind of like that the brush almost makes like what looks like little sprouts of grass. But if you start off at the side, then you don't get a big blob of color. And so I'm just kind of making everything just real fuzzy and nothing defined. So I'm just adding some more of the dark green. Like I said, I kind of like the way that the brush kind of looks like grass growing up. That was accidental. Anyway, I like the way it looked. So I am doing a combination. I'm going to put her on another piece of white daisy. I'm going to stamp her on some white daisy and then stick her up with pop-up foam circles to have her kind of rise above the background a little bit. And I'm going to color her with the tri-blend markers. So there's my background. I mean, pretty simple, pretty fun to do. I really like those clouds. And you could actually do more detail on the clouds if you wanted to. So I'm just going to fill in a little bit between the clouds and the meadow, like the horizon, the blue horizon. So that's just kind of what I'm adding, a little bit here and there. And a little blue around the edge too. So it just kind of makes it, frame it out a little bit more. Kind of close it in. So, and that's really, just kind of a simple thing to do, and adds more of this pretty blue. It's really, a pretty sky blue, but it's not called sky blue. It's called Carolina. That's what it's, a Carolina blue. So there's my background. And what I love about this stamp is it's got dragonflies and butterflies and hearts, and I just love the dragonfly. So I had one in my backyard today, close to sitting on the cage around my tomato plant, and he was a bright orange. It was beautiful. So I don't know what he's doing at my tomato plant, but maybe he's eating the spider mites. That would be nice. Not that I knew I had spider mites until I was pulling some leaves off and my hand got caught into a web, and it's like, oh my gosh. So my husband went out and sprayed it with some Dawn, a little bit of Dawn detergent in some water. And that kind of breaks down the webs, and the spider mites are so tiny they don't like it either. So, purely by accident. So I'm going to add a little butterfly and a dragonfly to my scene. Sorry, I'm back. Had to make a grocery list with my husband. We're using the Kroger's delivery system that's worked out real well during this time. So I forgot I told him I'd make a list with him. Anyway, it's kind of fun to sit down. It's the first time I've been organized about groceries, and he's helping out. So very cool. Okay, so I'm just making this little scene for this little girl with this huge bouquet. There's just, I mean, it's just so sweet. It's just, she's just such a sweet little thing with a gigantic bouquet. How can you not love her? So, but I'm putting all my little bits back because, you know, they can get away from you. So I'm going to go ahead and put her on a separate piece of, I'm back. See, by magic. I'm going to put her on a separate piece of white daisy, which obviously I didn't have handy, because I can't really color her flowers on my background. So I don't have a die cut for this, but that's okay because she's not, although it looks detailed, it's not really that hard to cut her out around the edges. So, and God, I'm off screen again. I'm so sorry that I do that. I think I was too zoomed in. And you just, when you do these, just so you know, when you do these, you get really absorbed in what you're doing right in front of you, and so you don't pay attention to the fact that you're completely off the screen. So if you notice, I'm not doing a highly detailed cut. I'm just doing a real generalized cut around all this stuff. And the best thing to do, which I know I've talked about before, is don't move your scissors, move your paper. And that way you get a smoother cut going all around. So see, it really isn't that bad. And I'm going to come down and cut around her legs and her little toes. Oh, there we go. See, it wasn't bad at all. So now comes the fun part, is making a decision about what color to color all the flowers and her dress and her little socks. And so I'm using my markers to do this. You could use, I think it would be hard to do it with the watercolors. So either the markers or the pencils would be the easiest thing to use for doing the coloring. And either one would be fine. If you use the watercolor pencils, then you can go over the pencil marks with a blender to make it look like it's watercolor. So that way you lose all the pencil lines. And it's very easy to do. So I'm kind of outlining to give a dark rim around the edge of the dress. And then I'm going to, here's the darker one. I started off, I think, with the lighter one. So I'm adding the dark to it. So I kind of just want to make some lines, like fold lines, and just kind of scribble. And then I'll come back and fill in with the lighter color or the medium. And you know, when you do a bigger piece, or even the smaller pieces, you want to use the different shades because it just adds a bit of dimension to your coloring. So I mean, it just the dark lines in there just kind of looks like folds in the fabric, which is, you know, pretty natural to have. And we have so many different colors. There's actually, I'm gonna color all the leaves and the stems here in the darker green. And then this is the hardest part. There's more leaves than there are flowers. So it's just kind of time consuming to go through and color all the different leaves that are in there. So I think I'm going to speed this up. Okay, I'm back, and I am just going through and finishing off, giving her some little pink socks to go with her little outfit and to match her little flowers. And I'm putting my large foam dots on the back to help her pop up off the backdrop scene. So she always, no matter what color flowers you use, she always comes out so cute. So I just really like this little stamp, and I've done it a couple of times. I'm giving this card to a friend of mine for her birthday. So here's the scene with the dragonfly and the butterflies heading for the flowers. So she's so cute. I really, really like that. And I'm just going to put a little sentiment down at the bottom from directly from the stamp set. But I'm going to color the dragonfly with this blue color to kind of go with the rest of the card. But I'm going to edge his wings in the orange. I should have made his body orange to be just like that dragonfly that's been visiting me for the last 2 days. Oh, I did. Well, how about that? I was thinking I made it all turquoise. Good for me. And then I'll color the little butterfly. Froze up for a second. Okay, purple butterfly. I like my little scene. So it's just kind of a different card to make. And you know, I mean, this would even be cute on she would be cute on a scrapbook page also. But she's ideal for the cards. And I'm just putting a little on with my intense black ink, which I used. Computer keeps on freezing. Anyway, I stamped the outline of her in the intense black so that I could color her quickly with my markers. And that's why I love the intense black so much, and it takes no time to dry. So I'm doing a just for you, and then on the inside, it's going to say for my beautiful friend. I've got to clean up my mess a little bit. I've been trying to keep my area neater because, goodness. So the only downside to using the markers directly on the card and not cut them out and pop them up is that the marker color comes through to the other side. So you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. It just kind of bleeds through. But you can always put something over it to kind of cover it up if that bothers you. But it kind of looks like just a little butterfly. So there's for my beautiful friend. And I'm going to use, I always put a little stamp on the back of my card. So I'm going to use this little butterfly and do him in intense black. I don't think I'm going to color him. I think I'll just leave him the outline. Of course, you can't see what I'm doing, but that's my Hallmark brand back there. Whatever it happens to be to go with the card that I'm making. So it's always something from that particular stamp set, just so that everything coordinates. And then I usually also do a envelope for the card that also has a stamp on the outside. So I don't know whether I've got an envelope here or not. Just cleaning up so I can put the stamps back. You want to, clean your pads. I'm using the chamois, which I keep wet, and I go and rinse it off and then put it back in its little craft box so it stays moist and not dry hard. So you can see there's a little shimmer on the centers of the flower. And I'm going to add a little bit more shimmer to the flowers. So I'm using the clear to sparkle up the flowers. And that's always, and we're getting more and more colors of shimmers. We're getting a whole array of colors. So just so you know, we have a new one that's lemonade and a new one that's toffee. And, of course, the clear goes with everything. The lemonade worked out really well for the little tiny centers of the flower. I don't know why my computer keeps on stopping. But you can tell that it's got the little bit of shimmer to it. And, of course, my dragonfly needs to shimmer also. And the butterfly. And so, you just can't have too much shimmer. So all the colors that are coming out are just amazing. Oh my goodness, wait till you see the new core catalog that comes out. It's effective, I think, September 1st. So there's my butterfly on the back. And that's my little card for my very dear friend, who's very, very sweet. She's such a sweet lady. So there I am. Thanks for watching. Bye now.